Listen everybody, because you need a refreshment. Today we're going to teach you about an algebra lesson. We got Devin and Charles, and we're back on the mic. We're the Algebra Kings, and we're here to teach it right. Chapter 1, expressions, equations, and inequalities. Please excuse my dear intelligence. Always start with parentheses. Solving equations, algebraic expressions. Devin Bass is going to show you the algebra lesson.
Chapter 1, expressions, equations, and inequalities. An algebraic expression is solving an expression that has no equal sign. For example, 10x cubed plus 5y squared minus 3y squared plus 4x cubed. First thing you do is you combine the like terms of the expression. So 10x cubed plus 4x cubed plus 5y squared minus 3y squared. Then you take the regular numbers and put them in parentheses. For example, 10 plus 4, parentheses, x cubed, which is the sign they both belong to. And then add, in parentheses, 5 minus 3, y, and then y squared, which is the sign those two numbers belong to. 10 plus 4 is 14, and 5 minus 3 is 2. Add both signs and exponents to that final expression to get 14x cubed plus 2y squared. Solving equations. Solving an equation actually uses the equal sign to find x. For example, 7x plus 4 minus 5x equals 9x plus 10 equals 11x. You have to get x on one side. So the first thing you can do is combine like terms. So 7 minus 5 is 2, giving you 2x. And then you leave the 4 as it is, giving you 2x plus 4. Then you combine then do the same thing on the other side. 9 minus 11 is negative 2, and then you leave the 10 as it is. You can go from both sides to subtract or add something in order to get it x on one side. I subtracted 2x from the left side, crossing it out, leaving 4 equals negative 4x plus 10. Then I subtracted 10 from both sides. 10 minus 10 cancels that out, leaving it as negative 6 equals negative 4x. Now dividing this doesn't give you an exact number, so you can use it as it is as a fraction, giving you negative 6 over 4.
Chapter 2, Chapter 3 are easy to me. I will solve equations algebraically. With linear system equations solving graphs, I knew it was certain I would solve the simple math. I'm using all equations I learned, you see. We're the Algebra Kings with family. So this is how we roll, Charles and me. Now I'm going to teach you Chapter 2 and 3.
Chapter 2, Functions, Equations, and Graphs. A relation is a domain, or x, and range, or y, to make a function. Function, it only goes to one domain. For example, domain, range. 3 goes to 7, 6 goes to 10, 11 goes to 9, and 8 also goes to 9. This is a function because it goes only to one range each, but it can go to as many ranges as it pleases. 1 goes to 4, 1 goes to 4 again, 2 goes to 10, 4 goes to, no wait, 2, never mind, 2 goes to 12, 4 goes to 10, 7 goes to 9. This is not a function because the one domain goes to the same range twice, which is not a function. Slope and slope-intercept form. Slope form is when you take two coordinates and take the second y, subtract it from the first y, and take the second x minus the first x and divide the entire thing, which will give you the slope. For example, 1, negative 1, and 2, 3. Subtract 3, which is the second y, minus negative 1, which is the first y, to get you 4, and then 2, which is the second x, minus 1, which is the first x, to get you 1. 4 divided by 1 is 4. So 4 is your slope. To get the slope-intercept form, the y-intercept is 5, or when the y, what is y when x is 0? So your ultimate answer is y equals slope of 4x minus the y-intercept, which is 5. Chapter 3, Linear Systems. You can solve a linear system equations by graphing, substitution, or elimination. I will use graphing for one example. The two equations are y equals negative 3x plus 7 and y equals x minus 3. Negative 3x and x are both of your slopes, and the negative 3 and 7 are your y-intercepts. Basically, you just have to plot your y-intercept and use a slope for both of the lines and graph both of the lines. And to be honest with you, that's pretty much it. You can also use substitution. 4x plus 7y equals 15, and 3x plus y equals 9. You must get the y and the x to solve this. First, you get the y by subtracting the 3x from the second equation, giving you y minus 3x plus 9. Then you take that, y equals negative 3x plus 9, and then you take that and plug it in to the first equation. So 4x plus 7 parentheses negative 3x plus 9 equals 15. Then do the distributive property, taking 7, multiplying it by negative 3 and 9. This will give you 4x minus 21x plus 63 equals 15. Subtract 63 from both sides to give you, and combine like terms, the 4x and the negative 21 to give you negative 17x equals 48. Divide negative 17 from both sides to get you 2.8. X equals 2.8. Then finally, plug in the x value into the second equation. 3 times 2.8 plus y equals 9. 3 times 2.8 is 8.4. 8.4 subtracted from both sides is 0.6. Y is 0.6.
We show the world what math's about. Solving equations, version it out. Like simple math, you learn to count. Let's go give Miss Winehold a shout. Ayo, Bowser.
What?
This class is getting it. Quadratic function, chapter 4, we're not forgetting it. Learning about functions and factoring equations. Listening to class and not starting conversations. Chapter 6, we rocked it with radical expressions. Multiplying square roots and rational experiment lessons. Spent hours doing math, so I finished on time. Never worry about a rap, never worry about a rhyme.
Chapter 4, Quadratic Expressions and Equations. Factoring quadratic expressions. For an example of a quadratic expression is 10x squared plus 4x plus 2. First thing you always want to do is take that equation and see if you can factor one thing out of all of the numbers. I can factor 2 out of all those numbers, so factor 2 out of all of these, leaving you 5x squared plus 2x plus 1. Your final answer, however, puts the number outside that you divide it all by. There are no other ways to factor this equation correctly, so that's your ultimate answer. The quadratic formula. The standard form of a quadratic formula is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Quadratic formula, however, is x equals negative b plus or minus b square root of b squared plus 4 minus 4a times c over 2a. An example is 2x squared plus xx minus 8 equals 0. In the quadratic formula, that is negative 6 plus the square root of 6 squared minus 4 times 2 times 8 over 2 times 2. After solving all of the equation, you will get the square root of negative 28. Now, if the discriminant is a negative, there is no solution because you cannot square root a negative. Chapter 6, Radical Expressions and Rational Exponents. Roots and radical expressions. the usual equation for a radical expression is the nth square root of a. The n is the index, the a or number in the square root is the radicand, and the square root itself is the radical. If n is odd, then there's only one real nth root of a. If n is even and a is positive, there are two n solutions. One is positive, one is negative. If n is not, and if a is negative, there is no solution. Simplifying radical expressions. You simplify a radical expression, you take the main number and factor it out as far as you can. For example, 36 factored 6 and 6, and then each is factored 2 and 3. Then you take the nth root and square root it by the 2 times 2, 3 times 3 times x 4 times, leaving you 3x to the power of 4 square root 2x to the power of 2.